and a monster home run hit to a place that
It was popping.
Who would have thought hip-hop would have made it?
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the Rock Durant Podcast. If I'm wearing this hoodie, it can only mean one thing. Opening day is back. The baseball season is back. And I'm here to give you guys a quick breakdown of division winners, wild card, maybe some awards as well, MVP, Cy Youngs for each league. But I'm excited, man. MLB season today is Tuesday, March 24th. The official first game of the season begins tomorrow between the Yankees and the Giants on Netflix. Remember that. It's on Netflix. Before we get the traditional kickoff on Thursday with the full slate of games, which really officially kicks off the MLB season. But I've been waiting for this for a while. Obviously, I'm not here with the fellas tonight. They don't even know I'm recording, honestly. I just said, you know what? I'm going to throw it back. I'm going to go old school. Back when I did Sports 360 with my good friend Jeff Fanel. Shout out to Jeff. Hope you're doing well, my brother. And I said, you know what? Let me do some predictions. Let me get into the lab. Let me cook a little bit. I'm even going to do fantasy baseball this year for the first time in God knows how long. One, because I'm very excited for this MLB season. But also, we might have a lockout coming. So this may be the last chance to really fully immerse myself into the MLB season before we start talking about labor negotiations and all this other craziness. So let's take advantage of the year that we have. Let's enjoy to the fullest. And let's hope it ends with a parade in the Bronx. At least for me. But yeah, let's jump right into it. I'm going to start with the National League. Typically is what I normally do. Start right with the NL East. This is going to be a pretty interesting division. The Mets made a lot of moves this offseason. They saw last year just did not work, even after adding Juan Soto and a few pitching guys for their rotation. It just didn't work out. The team they just looked off all season. And I think if you ask Mets players, you ask Mets fans, you ask baseball fans, they'll tell you the same thing. The team just didn't look right. And we're going to see what we saw this offseason was a full revamp almost essentially of the entire roster. And they added some pitching. They traded for Freddie Peralta, who's a stud. Love that guy. And they revamped their lineup completely. Added some contact guys in like Simeon, Bo Bichette playing third base. So it'll be interesting to see how he does defensively and how that affects his offense because we know it can happen. We've seen it before. But they added some guys with some pop. They added Luis Robert as well from the White Sox to play center field. So a revamped roster for the Mets, and I think it's going to pay dividends for them. I can see them really starting the season well and just continuing a good streak. I don't think they're going to completely run away with this division, but I do have them winning the NL East and making the playoffs, probably as like the number 2 seed, because we all know who the number 1 seed is. The Phillies are another team. They're a really good team. They lose a couple pieces. In Castellanos, who they let go, or I believe they traded to San Diego. They lose Ranger Suarez to the Red Sox, which we'll talk about them in a bit. But they're still a pretty good team. I think Bryce Harper is almost like on a revenge tour this season. There's been a lot of criticism about him, his team. We know his GM came out and said that this guy's not elite anymore. And I think he's taking that to heart. Obviously, he didn't perform that well in the WBC. He had some moments, but we didn't see the best of Bryce Harper in the World Baseball Classic. And I think we're going to see an MVP type season this year from Bryce Harper. So I'm excited to see what he comes to the table with. The rest of the division, the Braves, I know a lot of people are high on them this year. Ronald Acuna being healthy, his performance in the WBC and the emotion and the hype that came with his team. Excuse me. But I have a lot of question marks about the Braves. I don't fully believe in them. Health is a big thing. Austin Riley are you going to be fully healthy and back? Is Acuna going to be able to stay healthy? Because we know when he is healthy, he's elite and he's electric. But can he stay healthy? Same thing with Austin Riley. They're already starting off on a bad foot with Spencer Strider being out. When we don't know how long he can be out, if that injury can mess with him, his timing, all that stuff. So I have a lot of question marks about the Braves, which is why I have them finishing third in this division. After that, Marlins, Nationals, and that'll round out the NL East. NL Central, I had the Chicago Cubs winning this one. They added Alex Bregman to be their third baseman. A good piece there. They obviously have PCA out there in center field, signed his new deal. Shout out to him. Congrats on that. Well deserved. Dude is going to be a star. He's a star. He might be a 30-30 candidate this year. Keep an eye on that one. But I like what the Cubs do. They continue to build on some of the success they had last year. In second place, I have Milwaukee, who, listen, every single year I do this with Milwaukee. I don't pick them. I have them out. And somehow they win a division. They win the wild card. They make a deep run. They go crazy, hot, late. Normally happens after they trade away one of their star players, which they did this year, this offseason with Freddie Peralta. But we'll see. I have the Brewers finishing second. I also have them, spoiler, making the playoffs as a wildcard team. Same with the Phillies. So that's 2 of the wildcard spots. And then the rest of the division, I have it as Pirates, Reds, and St. Louis finishing last. We know St. Louis is... they're not doing anything this year. They're just trading guys away. That's what they're there for. But the Pirates finishing third. I want to talk about that one because they have 2 young studs in Mitch Keller and 3, actually, if you want to include Bubba Chandler. And obviously Paul Skeens. 3 guys in the rotation who I think are pretty darn good, especially that Paul Skeens guy. They did some stuff offensively. They're an interesting team. They could play spoilers, but they can also make a run. So, and I don't mean like a run at winning the division, just a run at making a playoff spot with the 3 wild cards. But the Pirates, definitely going to be a team to watch, maybe a fun team to watch. So I would say tune into Pirates games because we're going to see some good stuff from them, especially with that rotation. I'm excited for that. NL West. This one, I'm obviously the Dodgers. I'm not going to go crazy here. Where I am going crazy is I think the Dodgers are going to win 112 freaking games. They're going to go 112-50. What does that do for the Dodgers? First of all, we know that the Dodgers treat the regular season like whatever. Let's just win 90-plus games. Let's get into the playoffs. Let's flip the switch and win back-to-back championships. They did it last year. They did it the year before. This year, I think they're going to turn it around. They're going to say, you know what? Let's play for something. Let's break the franchise record for wins in a season, which is 111. And I think they're going to win 112 games. I think they're just going to run through everyone. They're not going to care. They don't care that you criticize them for getting Cal Tucker. In case you forgot about that, they got Cal Tucker. They don't care that they send guys they signed from overseas and they send them to the minor leagues to start the season. They don't care. The Dodgers don't care what you think. They don't care what I think. They're just there to play ball and to win championships. And I think they're going to do exactly that. They're going to go play ball, win 112 games. And everyone's going to look at the Dodgers like, what the heck are we going to do against them when the playoffs begin? To round out the rest of that division, I see the Giants, Padres, D-backs, and Rockies. This division is interesting. And not because the Dodgers are the powerhouse, but because none of the other teams, and I'm going to exclude, just for the sake of this conversation, I'm going to exclude the Rockies, who have no idea what they're doing year in and year out. The D-backs, I don't even know what they have anymore. They have no pitching, I think. I don't see them really competing unless they make some moves out of the blue and they can stick around mid-season. The Padres are another team. Their rotation scares me in a bad way. After Michael King, I don't really trust anybody else, just being honest. And we got to see if Michael King can keep up that success. He got his big deal this offseason. Congrats to him, well-deserved. But we got to see what the Padres do. Offensively, again, after Machado and after Tatis, and maybe after Jackson Merrill, I don't know who else you can really look at and say, all right, that guy can step up when these guys are out, or these guys get an off day, or somebody gets hurt. But if one of those big 3 dudes gets hurt, I don't know who's going to step up for San Diego. And then the Giants, I just feel like between them and the Padres, the Giants are a little more well-rounded. I like what they did in the offseason. So we'll see. It's just one of those divisions where I'm just like, we know the Dodgers are going to take it. What else is going to happen? But I have the Giants winning that 3rd wildcard spot. Yeah, the National League, man. Dodgers, 112 games. Write that one down. That's my somewhat hot take, I guess, for the National League. In the American League, I'm going to start with the AL West because I know everybody's waiting for me to talk about the New York Yankees because I'm wearing the hoodie. So I'm going to leave you guys waiting for the end for that one. AL West, I got the Mariners taking that division, and I also have them finishing with the best record in the American League with 98 wins. Rounding out that division, I have the Rangers, Astros, the Athletics, and the Angels. So now the 2 teams, this division I flip-flop. After the Mariners and Angels, I'll say it this way. Mariners and Angels are the 2 teams that I left exactly where they are, first and last. I knew that was going to happen. But the other 3 teams, Rangers, Astros, Athletics, I struggled with them. I probably changed it around like 6, 7, 4 or 5 times. And the reason being is because each team there is missing something that convinced me that they should move up or move down. So I look at the Rangers offensively. They're not the juggernaut they were maybe a couple years ago. They're still waiting on some of their young guys to like fully develop. Maybe this is the year that everyone like clicks. So I have them finishing second for that reason, because I do think we're going to see some progression and some leaps in the development of some of their young guys. And I also like their rotation. They have, obviously Jacob deGrom. I think he's going to have one of his not Met-like seasons, but I think he's going to have a really good season, followed by Nate Eovaldi, who Nasty Nate is just Nasty Nate. So I think he's going to have a good season as well. The Astros and Athletics. So here's the thing with the Athletics. I think offensively they can bang with anyone. But when it comes to their pitching, it's one of the biggest question marks in that division. I don't see a lot of strength in their pitching. If they had some pitching, I honestly would have them in the playoffs. I'm not even going to lie to you there. That's how good I think they are offensively. But I have them finishing fourth in the division out of respect for the Astros, because every time I don't pick the Astros, they somehow end up in the freaking World Series. But I can see like a 1-game difference between the Astros and Athletics in that division. And then the Angels, my God, do something. Like, for once, do something. Can we see Mike Trout be healthy? That's all I'm asking for. I just want Mike Trout to be healthy for a full 162. Give me a good 150 games, Mike. Because we love to see you play baseball. We want to see you continue playing baseball. The game is better with you in it, when you're healthy, when you're doing great things. Yeah, just stay healthy, bro. AL Central, I'm not going to shock the world here by saying that this is the weakest division in all of baseball, and has been for maybe the past decade. It's almost an embarrassment how hard this division falls off after like the first place and second place teams here. I have the Tigers taking this one. I had them taking it even before the offseason, really. Spring training even began. Obviously, they have Schoolball. They have Valdez now, Framber, to round out that 1-2 punch in the rotation. I like their offense as well. A lot of the guys coming back from last year. So I can see this team just taking that division. I have the Royals finishing second, Guardians third. Twins and White Sox are honestly the two teams I flip-flop the most here, because I think the Twins are going to be terrible and the White Sox are going to be horrific. So which team is in competition to lose? I'll say this, the White Sox are interesting on paper. Not interesting like the Pirates are, because I think the Pirates have a legitimate chance to be decent this year. The White Sox are just interesting. It's like, are you going to lose 100 games again? Or are you going to go like 500? So it's really one of those type of seasons I see for the Chicago White Sox. The Twins are just... I got nothing on the Twins. But the Guardians are another team. You don't do anything in the offseason. You're probably going to trade Steven Kwan at some point. I don't trust the team offensively. They're not good offensively. I said it all last year as well. It might be the worst offensive team I've ever seen make the playoffs. So that's why I have them finishing third, because I can't have them any lower than the Twins and the White Sox. And then the Royals, I think, are going to have a pretty good season. You want to see Cole Reagan stay healthy. You want to see Bobby Witt have a Bobby Witt type season, which I think he will. And he's going to give Aaron Judge a run for MVP, and we'll get into that later. But I think the Royals have a really good, solid foundation. I think the Royals can make a playoff push. Maybe they'll fight the Tigers off for some time throughout the season, but I can really just see the Royals finishing second place behind the Tigers in that division. And now the moment you guys have all been waiting for. The conclusion of this episode. So thank you for watching. Make sure to like. I'm just playing with you. The AL East, man. I'll go bottom to top. I have the Rays, Orioles finishing second to last. Reason being, the Rays are going to be better than people expect. I think their lineup is better than you think. But this division is just such a freaking dogfight. It's going to be a dogfight all season. These guys are going to go at it. They're going to destroy each other. It's going to be some of the greatest games I think we see all season is when the AL East goes against each other. It doesn't matter who's facing who and where they're playing. They're just going to be really good games. And every game is going to be very important despite what Aaron Boone said last year. These division games are going to count, and I think if you're losing, if you have a losing record in this division against a division opponent, you're in trouble, big trouble. The Orioles, they had a weird offseason. They added Pete Alonso, yes. So I think offensively, that's a great move for them. I think he's going to have a regular Pete Alonso season. But I don't necessarily really trust them long term. That's just it. I think when you look at the other three teams, Blue Jays, Red Sox, Yankees, and that's the order I have them in, those three teams are just better than Baltimore. And maybe Baltimore surprises everyone. We've seen them do that before. But I just have a hard time picking them over any of the other three teams. So winning this division, obviously I have the New York Yankees. I have the Red Sox finishing second, Blue Jays third. This is completely unbiased, despite the gear, the fandom, all this stuff. Just completely unbiased. The Blue Jays, obviously, they're the team to beat in the American League. They made the World Series last year, took the Dodgers to the brink. But here's my thing with the Blue Jays. George Springer had a freaking, maybe the best season of his career since leaving the Astros. Arguably the best season of his career. We can argue that. Ernie Clement, who was a no-name for a lot of people, had the best season of his career again. You had a lot of guys like that on Toronto. And normally when you see that, I'm very quick to say, okay, can you repeat that success? Is this real? Is this who you really are? Or was this just a flash in the pan? You had one amazing, crazy season. Everything clicked for everyone. Something happened. Something good was in the water, and everyone just clicked. Show that to me again next year. If they can show it to me again next year, I will eat my words and put them first in this division. No problem. They obviously added Dylan Cease, but they have a lot of question marks in their rotation, a lot of injuries they're dealing with right off the bat, which is a huge concern because, again, you start slow in this division, you might fall behind very early. And that's not something you want to do in a division like this one. If it was the AL Central, you got a chance. American League East, not so much. So that's my question mark with the Blue Jays. Again, I'm not drinking the haterade. I'm not mad that they beat the Yankees and owned them last year. It's nothing like that. I just want to see them. I just question if they can sustain that level of success and carry it into this season, or if we're going to see a lot of those guys regress, which is what I'm expecting. I'm predicting we're going to see a lot of regression. I don't think George Springer is going to maintain the type of season he had last year. And again, big question marks in their rotation to start the season, despite signing Dylan Cease, who I think he's a good starter. He's not the best starter. With the Red Sox, another questionable offseason. They revamped their entire rotation, adding Ranger Suarez, Sonny Gray. Obviously, they got Crochet back, so they got a really good top three. They have a few other guys in that rotation, some depth in the minor league system as well. So a lot of guys who can just come in and step in. Roman Anthony is the real freaking deal. I'm going to tell you that right now. The dude is a superstar in the making. I can see him finishing like 5th in MVP, which is saying a lot. That's not a shot at him. A top 5 MVP finish for this kid is phenomenal. But still, there are some question marks with the Red Sox. Can their offense rally around Anthony? Can they really do their thing? Is Caleb Durbin, who's a really solid contact bat, how is he going to do with the Green Monster and all this stuff? How is that lineup going to protect Roman Anthony, essentially? So a lot of question marks for a lot of teams this season. But I think the Red Sox did a pretty decent job, I guess, this offseason. But it's still, we'll see. We'll wait and see. It's a wait and see approach. And then the New York Yankees. There's a lot of talk about this, running it back and all this other stuff. Me personally, I believe that's a little overblown. I do understand the frustration. I was there as well. And then I took a step back and I said, all right, let me analyze this. So our starting third baseman from last year, our starting left fielder from last year, all guys in the minor leagues to start the season. So we have Ryan McMahon, just reference, Jason Dominguez, Oswaldo Cabrera. 2 guys who were starting last year are starting in the minor leagues this year. I don't have to remind you of the rest of the opening day lineup that we had last year. You can Google that yourself. I am not going to put you through that. I will not be the reason for your sadness on opening day. But yeah, the Yankees, when I look at their rotation to start the season, after Fried, we can argue there are question marks. But the one reason I have the Yankees winning this division is because, well, we know the Yankees, especially in this Aaron Boone era, is they're going to struggle in the summer, right? That June, July swoon is freaking crazy every single season. This year, I don't think it happens. And the reason for that, and not to be Brian Cashman and take a page out of his book, but I think the additions of Rodon and Cole heading into that June-ish, July, summer months is a huge difference maker. And I don't think people realize that. And the amount of talent they have in the minor league system and on the bench. This team is deep, man. Like, this is like Dodgers level deep. They have starters in the minor leagues that should be on the major league roster, but because the major league roster is so filled with talent, they have no space for these guys. And yes, I'm the first one that was mad about Jason Dominguez being sent down. I'm a big fan of his. I think he's going to be great. But we saw what he's doing defensively. He hasn't really improved that much. He needs the reps. He needs the innings. He's not going to get that at the major league level. Not the way Trent Grisham performed last year. And again, the thing with Trent Grisham, same question I have about George Springer. Are you going to repeat that level of success? You had the best year of your career last year. Can you have that sustained success? Can you pick it up defensively? Because we saw him slack off defensively a little bit. And we can say the hamstring issues were the reason for that. But we'll see. I think there's going to be a long leash for guys like Grisham. Not because you're paying him $22 million, but because you got to give him the benefit of the doubt and hope that he can kick off and continue the success. I think Bellinger's going to do what Bellinger does. I think Ben Rice, I'm excited to see him starting and being, the starter right off the bat at first base. I think the move for Goldschmidt, I know a lot of people were like, why the heck are you bringing this guy back? That's an insurance policy. That's all it is. It's a right-handed bat off the bench. It's an insurance policy. It's a defensive guy who can come in for Ben Rice in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning in a close game and just kind of hold that lead, make sure you don't have any miscues. I think Austin Wells, the stuff he did in the World Baseball Classic with Team DR, I think is going to carry over. I think there's something that clicked. I don't know if you guys noticed his hand positioning when he's batting. He was a little bit higher. He didn't have as much of a leg kick as well compared to last season. So there were some changes in his approach at the plate, which I would love to see. And I think it's going to be key for him to be that offensive catcher that we think he can be, and we know he can be. And then Aaron Judge is Aaron Judge. And then Giancarlo Stanton is starting the season. So I have the Yankees winning this division. Again, no bias, none of that. This is just, I'm giving you guys facts. I'm going to give you guys some awards now. So I'm going to be very transparent here. I think Aaron Judge and Shohei are going to be MVP for both leagues. But I didn't pick them to win the MVPs. The reason why is because I think we're going to see some voter fatigue on both sides. And I thought we were going to see that last year with Aaron Judge and Kyle Raleigh and that whole debate. But I have Bobby Witt Jr. winning the MVP this season. I think he gets over that hump of winning the MVP like he did almost a couple of years ago, having one of the best seasons a shortstop has ever seen. I think he's going to replicate something similar. I can see this guy going 40-40, which I know is crazy to say, but he has the tools to do it, man. Like this kid has the ability to be a top player in MLB, like the best player in MLB. Like he's that talented, and I don't think people realize how good he freaking is on both sides of the ball. Rounding out the MVP is my top 3. Bobby Witt, number 1. Judge, 2. Julio Rodriguez. You can't have the best team in baseball, like I picked the Mariners, and not have an MVP candidate. So I have those 3 guys in the AL MVPs. For the National League, again, Shohei's in there, but I have him finishing 2nd. Ellie De La Cruz, I think he's going to put something together. Now, here's the thing with Ellie De La Cruz. Super talented, incredibly athletic. But the one question mark is he just electricity? Is he a flash in a pan? Or is he going to be able to put together statistically a really solid season that helps the Cincinnati Reds win some games? I think this is the season we're going to see a lot of improvements in his game. I can see him finishing 3rd in the MVP. Number 1, I'm still a little sad about him. Juan Soto. I have him winning the MVP. He said as much. I think he's going into this season as well. Very confident, chip on his shoulder. He signed that big deal a couple years ago. Didn't make the playoffs last year with his new team. He's coming with a chip on his shoulder. We saw what he did in the WBC. Listen, Juan Soto's coming for that crown. Cy Young, I'm going to go National League Cy Young first. I'm going to go Yamamoto winning it for the Dodgers. Why? Because you can't win 112 games and not have one of your pitchers be an 18 to 20 game winner. I think what we saw as well from Yamamoto last season and into the playoffs is that he can handle the workload. That's a big question mark with Japanese pitchers coming over because they typically have a 6-man rotation. The pitching days in between are different than the U.S. But I think that this season, he kind of puts it all together. And I can easily see him, and I know wins are not a thing like that anymore, but I can see him winning 18 to 20 games, a sub 2.3 ERA, 200 plus strikeouts. I can see this guy just being dominant all season. Second, I have Paul Skeens because he's Paul Skeens. Let's be real. And then Freddie Peralta at number 3. I think, again, the Mets are going to have a pretty good season. I really like the trade for Peralta. He's going into a contract year as well. So I have that top 3 in the Cy Young for the National League. And for the American League, I have Crochet for the Red Sox winning the Cy Young, followed by Scuball. And again, Mariners, best record in the American League, cannot have a pitcher be in the running for Cy Young. Brian Wu, I think he's going to have a special season. Shout out to Ty Wiz. I know you're going to like that. But that's all I got for you, folks. So just to round it off, AL East, Yankees, AL Central Tigers, AL West Mariners. The wild card, I have Red Sox, Blue Jays, Rangers. In the National League, Mets, Cubs, Dodgers, with the Dodgers winning a franchise record 112 games. And the wild card, I got the Phillies, Brewers, and the Giants. We did it, guys. It was a long off season. I'm glad we had the World Baseball Classic to kind of get us hyped up for this season. Go Yankees. Make sure to tune in to the Yankees game. Again, it's on Netflix. If you don't have Netflix, I am so sorry. I understand. It's frustrating. Everything has subscriptions these days. If not, you miss stuff. But make sure to tune into the game, 8 o'clock, Yankees, Giants. And then Thursday, it officially begins for everyone. This is going to be a great season. My promise to you guys is to continue to bring you guys baseball content. I'm hoping to bring you a lot of baseball content on this season, whether I do it with the fellas, whether I do a lot of videos like this that are shorter. I'm hoping to bring it to you guys. Again, I'm going to be doing fantasy baseball. Just got to figure out where to sign up. So if you guys have any recommendations, let me know. So I'm probably going to have to do that tonight, tomorrow morning at some point. But yeah, I'm excited, man. The baseball season is here. My season is here. And again, my promise to you guys, and hold me accountable. If you don't see it, send me a DM. Yo, Rob, what's up with that? We just saw this happen. We didn't see you post. We didn't see a clip. Get to it, Rob. Hold me accountable because I want to bring you guys. We have 162 games per team. I'm trying to give you guys content galore for the baseball season this season. But I can only do that if you guys continue to share, like, subscribe, support. Again, send me messages, DMs, send the fellas DMs, especially Cesar. But on that note, thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Go Yankees. Chase for 28. Let's do it.